Hello everyone, my name is Tina and welcome to the G Sport Hub. So after 2 weeks in the LCP, what's happening with DFM? Like, how are they doing compared to expectations? What are the takeaways? And do I have hope for them? Spoiler alert, yes! But let's just start slowly, step by step. While each team has vastly different schedule in terms of strength, at least everyone has played 3 matches now, so we have some sample size. Where did we start pre-season DFM? Starting off with Steel's retirement due to his military service, then Yutapon also stepped away from the main roster to stay in Japan, and I'm gonna be honest, ever since Abby left DFM, they could never really find that same top lane power. Obviously they had that whole drama in 2023, but even in 2024, I just didn't feel like Ray Farkey would bring the same energy as Abby did. So it's no surprise that me, as well as I think most people, were predicting DFM to end about bottom 3. Personally, I thought that Secret Fails on paper would be the weakest team, so the top 6 this last playoff spot was always between Chiefs and DFM, at least for me, though some people did say that DFM would be the last. Nonetheless, I don't think many people had high expectations for them, and just before their first game, there was actually a massive news dropping 21 hours ago. Actually, I haven't even seen this tweet because I was literally streaming when it dropped. Basically, DFM tweeted out that Kakkun, who used to be a mid laner, used to play in LJL as well, after mid lane, he decided that he's gonna be role swapping to the bot lane. So this guy is now bot laner, and after the role swap, he joined DFM. They just announced the sub. But like, why did they announce it now? What is happening? There comes next day. Just this morning, just 3 hours ago, there's a tweet from DFM. Milan is having a fever, so that's why today Kakkun is gonna be playing in the starting roster. So they just announced the substitute yesterday, only to be playing today. Why didn't they announce him earlier? A lot of convoluted stuff is happening right now. But on the other hand, DFM was like the only team who didn't share pictures in the airport or anything like that. So I guess they could have brought Kakkun with themselves, they just never signed him. I don't know why they did that, but anyways, they announced Kakkun role swapping to bot lane and playing for them. And before I talk about this particular match, let me just give a little context. Remember when I said that I think the bottom 3 would be Chiefs, Secret Fails, and DFM? Now, their first opponent was Secret Fails, who on paper I thought would be the weakest team. So regardless of substitutions, they absolutely would have needed to beat them in order to keep their playoffs dreams alive. And to be fair, this meta is not even the worst for like role swap bot laners. I don't think we've seen Victor bot on stage, but it's something that people have been experimenting in solo queue with. I thought that maybe they're gonna go on that angle. However, they just picked normal champions against Secret Fails, and they also just played pretty bad. Oh my god, and no way he lives after that, no way. Please no, please no. Like, there were moments when they were ahead, they got some leads, but their team fighting was absolutely horrible. Their macro was really bad, they looked very disoriented. The only tiny shining light of this team was Aurea, who still had some pretty nice plays. And to be completely honest, it wasn't just DFM not playing well. Taki, Team Secret Fails support, has also had a phenomenal match. I think he even got MVP for that. They lost in a very bad fashion, and I got a little pessimistic. Then came week 2, first facing the Chiefs, and then Talon. Chiefs, I think, in this you must beat category, and Talon, who are probably the strongest team in the league. Even though we cannot really be sure of that, since their schedule was super easy at the start. But like, just name power alone, they probably should be the strongest. Anyways, this week was a mystery. So many variables, so many things we just don't know yet. Milan thankfully recovered, was healthy, back on the roster, and we all just wanted to see how this team would do with the original lineup. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what, but something has changed. They have cooked in draft. They, I think, played much better in macro sense as well. I remember checking Harp's solo queue account just before the match, and he was spamming the Pantheon support, which in the end they ended up picking for Guan instead. But Aurea also picked up the Vladimir. So this was a super interesting draft, and they executed it perfectly as well. Winning game 1, everyone was super high for them. We were like, yes, this is the DFM we wanna see. And then they swap in Kakkun for game 2. So I was like, this is the guy that you signed officially only because Milan got ill? Now you're rotating them? It is a weird scenario. However, as soon as they saw the draft, they played Talia bot lane, which is obviously, this guy used to be mid laner, so Talia is much more comfortable in his hands. And while the draft looked pretty nice, they had some leads. Unfortunately, the Sion was just too strong. After watching so many low Stratones games, I know how strong this champion can be. Also, the Callisto Renata was just way too strong against the whole comp they had, so they lost this game. That's fine. They still have one more chance, and they are now swapping Milan back in. So I'm like, what is happening here? I mean, Guvon was playing for T1 Academy beforehand, so maybe this is the secret T1 strategy that now they're using for Smash and Gumayushi. I don't know what's with that, but now, Milan back in the roster. They didn't stop with the draw cooking. Arya Yasuo together obviously with the Gragas jungle from Guan. Also for the Yasuo synergy, but just really good against the Kindred and the Galio. And in the end, except for like one little throw, but they still won this game, closed out the series 2-1. And at this point I was like, so what can this team do? I don't even know how to explain just how different this team looked. Like even with Kakkun in game 2, this was just a completely different team with like better communications, better macro. I have no idea what happened week 1, but week 2 just made me a lot more hopeful. And that is going into today's match against Talon. I think most people are putting them first in this league. So I think everyone came in here expecting a 2-0, 2 clean games. And that was not the case for Talon. Actually, in both games, DFM took an early lead. I absolutely loved how the top side was doing, actually. Guvon feels like maybe getting more comfortable with the team. Maybe he learned more Japanese, or maybe Ori and Horp can now translate for him. Something has happened and the team just played so much better. Now, unfortunately, spoiler alert, it still was a 2-0 for Talon. They threw a lead at the mid-game. I mean, Talon obviously gonna have better macro. The team fighting was better. This is something that we have expected. If you look at game 2 as well, which same scenario, getting early leads and then throwing. The draft was once again, I think, pretty nice. Having the Pantheon support finally. They stopped in Kakkun and got him to play Caitlyn, which I was like, so this is actually just a double ADC scenario. I don't understand why the sub out for Milan. Even then, I still would have loved Milan to just play through one series. DFM had other ideas. They got the lead, threw it out. But once again, this is just something that no one expected. They were like the closest to take down Talon, I'm pretty sure so far, which is, they had a pretty easy schedule. I know. But they got the closest. So what now? What is my current expectation for this team? Just like Talon, DFM had the same schedule actually, which means it's only gonna be harder from now on, except for the Talon management. You know what I mean? We're gonna have a 1 week break for the Chinese New Year, but after that, they're gonna be playing against CFO and the Vikings. Both of those teams looking really strong. Vikings have only lost to CFO, and even that match was super competitive. So those are not gonna be easy ones. And a week after, they're gonna be playing against GAM, who, even though lost to Vikings, once again, I am super high on them, so they're still not a team that you should be underestimating by any means. And for the perfect conclusion of their split, and both SRG split, they're gonna be playing against each other as a last game. And don't worry, similar video by SRG will be coming tomorrow. But what do I expect from them? I think it's only coming down to what they can do in this 1 week break. Because even with emergency subs and all that, I feel like from week 1 to week 2 was a massive upgrade. Now, I don't expect them to just keep that upgrade for the next coming weeks as well. But I must give some props to their coaching staff with Gizmo, who the players talked about how many analytical stuff is doing. And he might be the one who's helped with these drafts as well. I feel like Guvon also showing his potential. He was the player who I watched in Korean solo queue before. And I was like, keep an eye on this guy. This guy is pretty insane. And Rayfarki has also played much better than I expected against Aji. So if the top side is not as much of a weak link as I originally thought for DFM, who knows what is the ceiling? The only question mark left for me is this botlane scenario. Like, how are they trying to utilize Kakkun when they made Kakkun play the Talia botlane? I really like that one. I just don't understand the Caitlyn pick. I don't know. It was just really, really weird, and it looked like it was only because of the loss. So I'm still a little skeptical. And once again, the fact that they lost to Secret Veils is, it might be an issue in the future. As also just today, the Secret Veils have beaten the Chiefs. DFM will need to find one win from some of these teams. Unless just SAG goes winless, which is, I'm going to talk about that in the next video. So all in all, after a week 1 depression, after I thought that, oh no, this is just over, the team has shown some signs of life. And it's not just against the Chiefs, but even against the, on paper, best team in the league. Now the question is, how far below the other teams are? For example, can they close out a similar game against Vikings, against CFO? That is to be seen after the New Year's break. And we will be co-streaming those games, so Make sure to check them out in the future. And make sure to follow us on all social media, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube as well, because we're gonna be posting so many content coming into this week. So thank you for watching me. I'm Asina with the G Sport Hub, and see you in the next video. Bye.